Hi and welcome to Happy Kitty Kitchen. Today we're going to show you how to make a potato and leek quiche. I know many people are intimidated by making quiche. I definitely was too, but stick around, it's actually not that difficult and the end result is so worth it. This dish is great for breakfast and brunches and afternoon tea and anytime you feel like it, to be honest. Detailed ingredients are at the end of the video and description box as usual. Start out with a pan with olive oil and white onions on medium heat, and in another pan or pot start boiling your potatoes, and I've cut them into cubes to make them boil faster. We'll start seasoning the onions with black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, a lot of oregano and dried parsley, celery salt, and salt of course. If you're feeling extra fancy, add in 2 pinches of nutmeg powder, but I didn't do that here. Season heavily because we will be adding a lot of ingredients into this pan and we want to make sure all of them are well seasoned. When the onions cook down and become translucent, add in your washed and chopped leeks. I added in about 2 stalks of leeks, and if you think it's a lot, it isn't. They'll cook down and wilt. I added in more celery salt, oregano, and black pepper at this point, then I'll just mix them all well and cover them and let them cook, occasionally giving them a mix. I want to point out that the crust recipe is enough to make 1 large quiche and 1 mini quiche, but as for the vegetable mixture, you will have quite a bit left over, so you can make more quiche crusts and fill them, or cut down the vegetable ingredients in half, or use the leftover vegetables for a soup and create a new dish altogether. I also had some shredded zucchini left over from another recipe I was working on and decided to add those in towards the end, and that's optional. Don't forget to give your leeks a taste to see if any more seasoning is required, and when your potatoes can be pierced by a fork, they're ready to be transferred to the leek pot. Mash the potatoes lightly, they don't need to be completely mashed, just a rough smoosh is fine, then mix them up in the pan. And we're done with our filling. If at this point you're too tired to keep cooking, refrigerate the filling and continue making the quiche the next day. I find that it's better for me to break down long recipes this way and it's less stressful. Now for the crust, we'll add in our flour and salt to our mixing bowl. Then in a separate bowl with 2 small eggs or 1 medium egg cracked in it, we'll be adding 2.5 tablespoons of ice cold water and we'll whisk for a minute. We need to weigh about 140 to 150 grams of butter, then cut them into cubes. If you're not accustomed to using a food scale, first you have to weigh the plate separately, then weigh it with the butter on it. Then subtract the weight of the plate to know the exact weight of the butter you are using. Don't factor in the weight of the plate by accident because I've done that before. Gradually drop in the cubes of butter into the mixing bowl to mix with the flour, then finally add in the egg mixture. Mix until you get this beautiful buttery ball. It should be soft and not very sticky. Pop it into the fridge and keep it overnight or put it in the freezer for a couple of hours. This will make the dough easier to work with. Trust me, you don't want to skip this step because I did, and the dough was just a disaster to work with. Kept ripping and tearing and that wasn't pretty. The rolling of the dough is actually fun. It's kind of like shaping Play-Doh. Roll it out and make sure the whole surface area has the same thickness, and I find using this rolling pin with thickness guidelines really helps. Fold your dough over the pin, carry it over the pan that you should have greased by now with oil or butter, and drop it in and mold it. Cut off any excess pieces and set them aside to make another mini quiche. You can blind bake the crust if you want, which means putting in some weights in the middle to keep the middle from rising too much, then baking it in the oven for 2 to 8 minutes before putting in any filling. I've made it with and without blind baking, and honestly it didn't make a huge difference, so you can skip that step if you want, and if you're tired, we get it. After popping it back out of the oven, start by putting some shredded mozzarella at the bottom. Now for the liquid mixture, we have 5 small eggs. I think 3 or 2 large eggs would be fine as a substitute. 2 cups of milk and 2 cups of heavy cream that we are going to mix all together. Don't forget to season the liquid mixture too with oregano, dried parsley, black pepper, salt, and celery salt. The same seasonings we've used with the vegetable seasoning as well. Now, put in your vegetable mixture into the quiche and spread it out. Sprinkle a mix of shredded mozzarella and shredded cheddar on top, then pour in your liquid mixture. Use a fork to adjust the mixture and make sure it's evened out on top, then pop it back into the oven. Depending on your oven and the size of your quiche, the timing will always be different, but my rule is as long as the quiche isn't jiggly and liquidy in the middle and the cheese has turned into a golden brown on top, that's when it's ready. Do not cut into the quiche immediately after you've taken it out of the oven. It will fall apart and it won't look pretty. Give it time to rest for 20 minutes or half hour or an hour even, then cut into it and serve those beautifully delicious slices. Look at that, ain't it pretty? Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, and we hope you liked it. As usual, have a great day from Happy Kitty Kitchen. Bye!